What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's Flashback Reviews, where I take movies from the past, break them down, and tell you what you think about it. If you like what you see, of course, hit the subscribe button, join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell, top the finals coming next. If you like this video, awesome, hit that like button, and comment below on any video that you watch, including this one. So, at the end of the golden age of what was the Renaissance period, of course, of the Walt Disney Studios animation department, a thing that started to happen is Disney started to kind of become cheap. It was kind of the ending era for Michael Eisner, so they were producing direct-to-video sequels of stuff like Little Mermaid, of Lion King, of all these franchises that were hugely popular. And if you ever talk to a Disney animator, and I've talked to a few, it was a very tumultuous time for Disney Animation because the Florida studio, which his last film was Brother Bear, was on the verge of closing. They were kind of like condensing the whole animation studio projects. And it was just a very it was almost like a transitional period where it was not a very fun period to watch. But we still got like Lilo and Stitch, we still got like Emperor's New Groove and so on and so forth, and the eventual kind of resurgence of what Disney Animation eventually became. And so the reason I say all this, kind of jumbling of all this stuff, is this direct-to-video movie, which was Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. It released on the tail end of Tarzan. It came out on November 9th, 1999 as a direct-to-video movie. It's about an hour and 7 minutes, which is about the length of these direct-to-video sequels and movies and so on and so forth. And it's a movie that, to me personally, is what truly kind of captures what Disney animation truly can be and truly can inspire. It's a movie with a lot of heart, with a lot of emotional resonance. It takes a couple stories, especially Christmas Every Day and The Gift of the Magi, and puts its own Disney spin on it. You know, because it's called Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, we're underneath the Mickey umbrella, so we got, Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse and Donald Duck and Goofy and Huey, Dewey, and Louie and Max and so on and so forth. But it's a movie that kind of caught me off guard because it was one of those movies where I was like, I saw it because I was working at a video store, selling movies and stuff like that. And I saw it pop up here as a video, for sale. And I was interested because it was Mickey. And I love Mickey. I love the whole idea of, Disney World. It's a very magical kind of idea that, Walt Disney put into everybody's minds. And it has become so huge. And even though it's a corporation, there's something truly inspired by who Mickey Mouse is and his collection of characters and the ideas that represent like the humanity and the kind of joy, inspiration, and magic and all that stuff. You even go to like the theme parks today, it's just there's so much magic and joy that comes from these parks and from the idea of who Mickey Mouse is, that what I think truly makes it special is it takes the heart of who Mickey Mouse is, it takes the heart of who's collectible of characters that he is kind of the umbrella over, and truly just kind of inspires what you love about these characters. And so I saw it where I was working, and I decided to buy it. It was like $25 or something. It was expensive. And I watched it. It became a staple for every Christmas season. I watch it every single year. It's a movie that just completely fills me with joy and inspiration. It's an exciting movie. And it's a movie that is just, it has a lot of life lessons. It has a lot of emotional lessons. And it takes the material that it's using and completely just kind of does its own thing with it. And it's really a lot of fun. And like I said, it's narrated by Kelsey Grammer, who has a very soothing tone. If you've ever listened to him, like do like Frasier or, Cheers, he has a way and a cadence about him, especially The Simpsons when he does Sideshow Bob, that is really just kind of, you just feel at home when he's talking about these different stories and what about Christmas represents and what the holidays represent and what it is like to be family. It's a very soothing, very kind of calming tone. It really makes you feel special. You see the very beginning, like the interstitial, like the wraparound story where you just see the tree, you see the little ornaments and stuff like that. You just see Kelsey Grammer talking, and it's just a lot of fun and very, very just kind of nice and neat and so on and so forth. And that leads us into the first story, which is with Donald Duck and his family, with Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and, Scrooge McDuck pops in and stuff like that. And I'm eventually going to talk about Scrooge McDuck and Mickey's Christmas Carol, because it's a very special place in my growing up as a child. But it's basically Christmas Every Day, which was a short story that was written by William D. Howells. And it focuses on these characters that one character wishes for Christmas every day, gets their wish, and for an entire year, which like Groundhog Day is very similar. they relive Christmas over and over and over to the point where it starts driving them insane. You'd want to shoot yourself after like the 14th time you've revisited the same day. And in the process, they learn about the true magic and spirit of Christmas, how once a day maybe is the only time that you get to visit with the family, and so on and so on and so forth. And so it puts it in the place of a Disney animated special, where we have, of course, Donald Duck, who is the father figure to Huey, Dewey, and Louie. And basically, they have their Christmas day. Huey, Dewey, and Louie, because they're young kids, are very rambunctious. They kind of, what we see from the kids' point of view about how they don't like to get kisses from their aunt. They don't really get into the whole music scene. They're they're a little spoiled, and like they have sleds that they don't really appreciate very much, and how they eat the food, and so on and so forth. But as we know, as we're kids, the one thing that makes it kind of special is these kids, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, want Christmas every day, because who doesn't want Christmas every day as a kid? Reopen the gifts and stuff like that. Well, there's a magic star. They wish upon the magic star. And of course, when everything goes down, they realize they made a truly horrible mistake. This is a horror story in aspects. And to watch this, I'm going to keep it short, but to watch this thing kind of run through, to watch how Huey and Dewey and Louie have to learn their life lessons, to watch these characters go through different metamorphoses, and how, as they kind of play tricks on the family, as they kind of ruin Christmas, and as they start to slowly kind of learn that everything is just, they get to a point where they start ruining it in like really bad ways, and then they finally get to the last time where they actually, they send like Chip and Dale a bag of like roasted nuts and stuff like that. They refix the sleds into a boat for Donald. And to watch Donald become kind of suspicious because he knows how these young people work, these young ducks. He starts to question everything, but it's just that whole lead up to, watching three individuals kind of learn the true spirit of what this holiday represents and who they represent it for. It's a really kind of heartwarming thing to watch. It's a little meandering in a lot of places, and it gets a lot of really goofy where it shouldn't get goofy, but I think it does have a lot of heart to it. I think it has a lot of representation of how people who just don't realize the effects of what they're doing to situations at hand start to see their effects starting to work on the situations on hand. So we watch Huey, Dewey, and Louie just kind of turn for the better, and then kind of realize that maybe Christmas is just a once a day scenario, and that basically taking the holiday and kind of living it to its fullest is what this story ends up coming about. And like I said, the humor, the fun, the inspiration, the heart is all there. Having seen Donald Duck get like really upset like he usually does is a lot of fun. And seeing Huey, Dewey, and Louie, which we know of course from DuckTales and stuff like that, is a lot of fun. There's actually an animated special with Huey, Dewey, and Louie. It's a really fun special. It's not my favorite of the three, but it's definitely one that I recommend to watch if you just watch one of the three. It's still great. So the second one can be almost like a backdoor pilot for Goof Troop, and Goof Troop is a very well-known, well-liked animated show that was in the Disney animated pantheon of Rescue Rangers and Tailspin and so on and so forth. It was about Max, who is Goofy's son, and the kind of misadventures of Stinky Pete, and of course Pete's son. And this one involves basically Max wanting a snowboard. It's just a very simple Max wanting a snowboard, but where it gets kind of to the point where it becomes my favorite of the three segments is how truly special of a character Goofy is, and how truly he cares so much for his son Max, and to watch him go to the ends of the earth to get not only this letter to Santa, which becomes this really kind of fun chase through a mall sequence, to the point where he gets the letter to Santa, and Max, who's kind of, because he's a child, he's really focused on that whole sled. So what Goofy is doing in this, where he's feeding a family that doesn't have a lot of money, he's giving them all this food and being there for him, to where Max is really despondent about the fact that his father was playing Santa Claus, to the way Pete is kind of just Pete is a terrible character. I'm going to be fairly honest. I've never liked the character because he truly represents the really awfulness of where a character can go. So his character is just, there's something that really is always bothering me about him, and that's probably the way he's supposed to be played. But I think when Pete in the earlier days of Disney was a much more interesting, fun character, because he was just a side note character. But when they made him part of the Goof Troop and stuff like that, and he's in the other segment, it just doesn't gel with me at all, and that's kind of the biggest problem with this whole entire series is just Pete himself. But Pete gets the little nugget into Max's brain that Santa Claus is not real, and the whole idea of just being a miserly character and stuff like that. Actually, Pete's son is not even in this thing, which is really interesting. But in the end, it plays out. Santa is real in this universe, and Max gets his sled, and Goofy gets the one thing he always wanted, which was for Max's happiness. That to me is the most heartwarming portion about this whole entire series, and especially this movie, is Goofy's representation of what is truly special about people who truly care, not on a kind of gift giving level, but how a character can be truly just a good human being. And when he takes it, like especially the food to the family, it really truly represents why I like this movie so much, is just how good natured Goofy is in the whole entire segment, and how he just kind of positions himself to teaching Max life lessons, and still being his father, still being his friend, and still just being a truly honest spirit. And to see Pete get his comeuppance where he's like, oh, Santa's real, and then he gets all the snow, because there's a whole big point with snow in this movie, where he gets snow thrown all over him in his house. It has a nice climactic ending and so on and so forth. So it's my favorite of the three segments, but like I said, Pete just kind of ruins it a little bit, because like I said, I don't like Pete at all as a character. And then we get to the Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, and Pluto segment, which is the iconic, putting Mickey Mouse into some portion of this movie. And this one is based off The Gift of the Magi, and The Gift of the Magi is about a couple who basically are very poor, and they want to get each other gifts. One has in this, especially in the Mickey segment, the harmonica, wants to get a box for the harmonica, and Minnie has a clock that he's wanting to get a chain for, or a rope or whatever. And it basically shows the kind of sad nature of them sacrificing their most precious item and getting the thing that they want for their significant other, and end up realizing that the same person did the same thing. And in this segment, Mickey, of course, is using Pluto as kind of a horse. He has a sled and stuff like that. He has his harmonica. Minnie works at a gift retail store. She has her, chain, locket, timepiece or whatever. And once again, like the other segments, it truly shows the heart and passion and just kind of the drive for these characters to do something good for one another. And the thing that bothers me, I think, most about this, once again, is Pete. Mickey is working at a tree lot for Christmas, trying to make money to save for, the locket. And Pete is just a terrible human being, or terrible character. And he's trying to manipulate Mickey into selling these like 10-foot trees to this really poor couple. They're doing really nice, doing a nice job and stuff like that, selling trees to other people. He makes a lot of money, Mickey Mouse does. Pete is trying to get this couple, this really poor couple, that have a couple of kids, to buy a 10-foot tree, to basically sell their soul for it and stuff like that. And Mickey finds another tree that's, a normal sized tree. And Pete basically takes Mickey's money, which in any universe would be illegal and he could go to jail for. And in the process, of course, he gets a comeuppance again. He ends up destroying his Christmas tree lot by basically putting the cigarette, or the cigar he's smoking, into his pocket, and catches it all on fire, which leads into the fire department, who's doing a band kind of concert thing to help, get children gifts and stuff like that, are very poor. And Mickey ends up having to save the day by using his harmonica to, help people get gifts and stuff like that. And in the process, he is almost late, almost not able to get the locket for Minnie. And then Minnie, on the other hand, is having to deal with her miserly boss, who's a very, piece of trash individual. And he ends up giving her, because she's expecting a bonus because she's done a very nice job for the Christmas season with wrapping, he ends up giving her a fruitcake. Who gives a person a freaking fruitcake as a bonus? It's right in the Christmas Vacation alley, where it's these individuals that are represented on the screen that are just terrible human beings, that don't see the good nature of what people are and who they are. And the fact they give a fruitcake is just, it's mind-boggling. It's like something Animaniacs would do. And so therefore she has to sell off her locket to get the music box for the harmonica. He sells off the harmonica to get the locket. They've realized what they've done, and in the end it doesn't even matter because they realize that they went and did something that would make the other person happy. And that's what all it is about. Is it doesn't matter what it is, who it's for, how it's portrayed, as long as it makes the person happy, as long as it's something special, as long as it's just heartwarming and just, you know, from the heart. That's all that matters. And that's explained throughout the whole entire movie, is if it's from the heart, that's all that matters. And in the end, they have the big closing segment with all the characters coming together singing, you know, have yourself a Merry Christmas, stuff like that. And then the movie ends after an hour and 7 minutes. So with that said, this movie, this, you know, direct-to-video movie is a fun, it's entertaining, it's a classic in the sense of Disney animated movie. It's not well remembered because, you know, we have such many classics like, you know, It's a Wonderful Life and Christmas Vacation and Christmas Story. But I think it's a movie that has all the characters that you know and love. They're represented very, very well outside of Pete. And they do a really nice job of showing you the true nature of what giving and what the true nature of having an actual heart in your soul, and what the passions and ideas about why these characters are so special, the kind of hijinks that they get in, and how they represent why they truly make us feel special. And that's why I love this movie to death. I think it's a great, you know, Christmas movie. I think it's a great inspirational movie. And I think it's just a fun, energetic, and just goofy, all around just fun, entertaining movie. So, but with that said, there's not really much else to talk about because it wasn't in the theaters. I'm sure it made a lot of money because people buy up, you know, Disney movies and so on and so forth at, you know, high prices and stuff like that. But I think if you haven't seen this and it is on Disney Plus, I would definitely give it a watch. Like I said, it's very old school, especially for its time of Disney animation. And it will actually teach you some cool lessons and give you some cool heart-inducing moments. And you'll see characters on screen that you truly know and love that are represented very, very well, that are portrayed very, very well, and have a lot of good messages that are very well represented. So, but that's going to be it. That's going to be my take on Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you've seen this direct-to-video movie. What do you think of it? What's your favorite sequence? You know, all the good stuff. Also, what's your favorite Disney character? But otherwise, if you like this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you liked the video, awesome. Hit that like button, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.